DIY publishing meets DIY broadcasting. Self-publishing and podcasting are a natural fit. This is episode 14 on All Mavens branded podcast. Honoree Corder is a widely prolific author and was sold over 4 million copies of her books on Amazon. And what's more, she offers an online publishing PhD course to aspiring authors that walks them through the entire process of conceiving, composing, marketing, and selling their books. This is the third time I've had Honoree on this podcast, and I couldn't be happier about it. And you can hear her on episode 8, which was the first time that we did an episode together, and it was titled Why You Must Write a Book. And also on episode 11 with Dave Herndon, a strategic book coach beats a recovering magazine editor. So there's nothing for you to do now except to enjoy this episode. Welcome to me and you. What'd you say?
I said, you can lead with that. That's fine.
I'm leading with you laughing because you're just so great.
Oh, thank you. I feel the same. Let us memorialize this for all time. I feel exactly the same way. You are fantastic.
Oh, that's great. I miss seeing you. I have been so buried, it's like 70-hour weeks.
Yeah.
It's been like that for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
A little bit longer, but It's really great.
Yeah, what are you working on? What's all that work?
Well, developing Heard Not Seen Media. That's my new company.
Okay.
And then putting together a really awesome team, audio editors. I'm bringing on a voice coach to help with the voice for my
I think
clients.
Your voice is fine. I was going to say like podcasting for ugly people or platform building
podcasting for ugly people.
Yeah, for the unfortunate.
Yeah. What? Podcastingfortheunfortunate.com.
Yes, podcastingfortheunfortunatelooking.com.
Yeah. So anyway, working with Dave Herndon, and I have a fabulous creative director. His name's Sam DeSanto. And Sam and I have been working on, I hired a company to do the website, and we've been working on a video brand.
Okay.
Yeah. Sam's wonderful.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Logo, graphic designer. Yeah. Like I said, brought on a voice coach who's fabulous. And next week I start working with podcast advertising agencies.
Oh. For the purpose of
monetizing, getting podcasts out there in a bigger way and monetizing podcasts as well.
All right.
And then putting together a team. Phase 2 is all about putting together a team of voice talents who can take a book and basically turn it into a drama with soundscape, have somebody score the podcast, do a limited series, 6 to 10 episodes.
Okay. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. It's a creative thing. So thanks for answering my email on the return on investment on being like 500 podcasts.
Yeah, I wasn't actually sure how to answer that really, because I'm not a spreadsheet person in that way. Yeah. Does that make sense? So I've never really said, other than in my email, when someone signs up for my email list, I'll say, how did you hear of me? And the majority of the time it's, I heard you on a podcast.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so a lot of people say, how do I get on podcasts? So I don't know if I sent you the link or not, but there's a really good website now called podcastguests.com.
And is that yours?
No, it's not mine. In the industry, I keep my eye on what's going on. And there's been a lot of attempts to put together a service that matches podcasters with guests, but this one's really good.
Do they charge?
They do.
Yeah. See, I don't pay because I've been on so many,
you don't need to pay.
I don't need to pay, but I'm looking for resources for my class, which I hope you take at some point, because I talk about you in the class.
Well, thank you.
I tell people to be on podcasts, and then I tell them they need to have one, and then I tell them that you're the me of podcasting.
Thank you.
So this guy is to podcast what I am to books. So they go, oh, but it's in my verbal teaching, and then I put it in their homework. So there's a homework wrap-up email that they get. Yeah.
So once I get through all this development time, it's not going to be over till the middle of November, but I'll be.
Okay. The class starts in February.
Ah, okay, good.
I'm teaching the last one right now, and then I'll the last one of this year. And then I'll teach it 3 times in 2021.
So how often do you do them? Is it a weekly class?
It's a weekly class for 8 sessions. So it's from 1 to 2:30 Central on 8 consecutive Tuesdays, 3 times a year.
Okay, that's good to know because I'll actually start blocking out that time right now.
Oh, good. February 2nd, I can just tell you exactly in one moment.
That's Tuesday, February 2nd.
Yep.
1 to 2:30 Central?
1 to 2:30 Central. Yeah. So it's February 2nd through March 23rd. It's those 8 Tuesdays. And then you can take the class as many times as you'd like. And it's funny because I have a mastermind and there's an editor that had wanted to do work with me, Terry Stafford. And Terry came to me and said, I'd love to get referrals from you. And I said, well, I only refer people that I work with. In the book space, I can only refer people that I work with directly. And he said, do you have a project? And I said, no. But the next project I had was the Miracle Morning for Teachers. And here's my observation on teachers. They can't follow directions. So I had all these people, all these teachers writing these submissions for the book that were supposed to be edited, proofread, and print ready. And most of them were none of those things. And so my backup was to have Terry available to them. So I'm like, this is not meeting submission requirements, but here's someone who is a top shelf editor who, because you're a teacher and you're on a limited budget and this is a 500-word submission, will basically charge you a fraction of what they would charge. So I got to see his work for 20 teachers, not just one book. So I got to see, he sent me the befores and the afters, and I was able to get into his cadence and see the quality of his work. So then he said, I was sending him work, but I said what I said to you, you might want to come into the class because people in the class are hungry and they're like, what do I do? Who do I hire? I need to know someone. So he is busy. He is so busy right now when most people are going, people aren't writing books and having books edited right now because they don't have the discretionary income to do it. And so he is super busy. So he actually just joined my mastermind for 2021 because he said it was the logical progression. But I just, I think it's ironic that people, and also awesome that people who come into my ecosphere tend to get busier. Hopefully out of one of these classes, someone will say, I want to start a podcast and come to you.
Yeah, nice. So
I actually have one actual guaranteed client for you, and his name is Matt Ferret, and we are working on a book that he is writing on Medicare. And it's the 4 things you need to know when you turn 65 and every year after if you're getting Medicare. Are you 65?
Yeah, 6'8".
Oh, all right. Then you're going to want to talk to him anyway because, and get his book anyway, because every year in October, you're supposed to make these choices. And it's not easy to make these choices from what I understand. Just working with him so far, it's a completely convoluted, confusing, frustrating process. And he's actually writing the book on it. He's in the industry and has been for 20 years. And he's like, I've wanted to write this book for 10 years because every year it's not hard for me because I know the 4 things and I know how to figure out what they are. And it's easy like Sunday morning. Nice. And then for the rest of us, we're going, uh-oh.
You can just tell him he's already sold 1 book. Hello.
Right. No, I've mentioned it to several people and they are just like, when is the book coming out? So the book will come out in May, but he wants the complete Wheel of Fortune. He wants the speaking engagement, the coaching, the consulting, the book, the companion workbook, the podcast. Like he wants the whole thing. And so he's like, do you just have someone? And I'm like, I've got a guy. Like that's the guy. So I've already told him about you, but he's in that process where you are with this thing that you're doing, where I said, there are a lot of things that you need to know because he keeps saying, what about this? And what about this? And I'm like, write your book. I just have to keep saying, like,
exactly.
I have all these things and they're ready, but you're not ready to hear about them because they're just going to distract you and probably overwhelm the crap out of you because just writing the book is an overwhelming process. So I just keep saying, just focus. Just focus
A
on the book.
little Miyagi there. Miyagi,
Yes.
Danielson,
Like,
focus.
Wax on, wax
Danielson,
off.
focus.
Yes. So it's funny because I text and email him every week and I just say, how's it going? How's everything? But his manuscript is due the end of the year, at which point then, and he's a one-on-one client. So he's one of my high-level bespoke clients. And so he gets the white glove treatment. So I text him and email him and all the things. But when his manuscript is due, like I already have the team all lined up. So I'm just write the book, write the book, write the book, write the book. And so I keep adding things to the document that we have in the Dropbox. And he's like, can we talk about that? No. Can we talk about
Danielson, focus.
No, you cannot. No, we cannot talk. Focus. You must keep your eyes on the road. Keep your eyes on the road. So it's very fun because he's delightful and well-spoken, also great for the media. So I have his author media coach ready, and then he'll have a podcast with you. And so he's got all the things working with him. But that's why I had asked you, like, I had sent you that email a while ago. What do you charge for?
Right. It's all changed, actually. Lots changed.
Okay.
Prices came down, actually.
He won't be sad about that. He won't be sad about that, but he'll want the package where you do all the things.
Yes.
So,
of course.
Yes.
Yeah, part of my initiative of bringing on some outside consultants and stuff, I actually am bringing on somebody that's considered one of the top 3, how do I say this, community social management kind of people regarding podcasting.
Okay.
So it's a woman and she's really good.
How does one get such a distinction? How is it decided you're one of the top 3?
Well, just the industry, basically, she's admitted to the Podcasters Hall of Fame as an example.
Okay.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah.
And she's just all over the place. And, she's excellent at strategy and community. So the name of the game in a podcast is it's storytelling
and community.
And it's community.
Yeah.
And it's not a traditional advertising or a business model that most people are even used to. And she understands that really well. And then I bring it on somebody that actually can take someone's social media and amplify it as a podcast. Cool. Not just amplify social media, but in the context of podcasts. So it's like taking audio pieces out of a conversation like we're having and turning it into an audiogram with a little reading transcript, stuff like that.
No, those are fun. I like it when I'm on a podcast and I see those on Instagram. Someone will tag me and it's a little snippet of hopefully something intelligent that I said.
Yeah. So I don't think there's anything.
I never know.
I know.
Could be.
Have you had any conversations with Dave Herndon?
I haven't. I have not connected with him since. I do enjoy a Dave Herndon, so please give him my regards.
I will. We'll figure out a topic and have the 3 of us back on because that was so much fun. After 20 minutes.
We should have a monthly caucus where we get together and discuss the stage.
And we could bring on another person too. You can think about that as well.
All right.
We could just bring more to the party.
Yeah. Podcast party.
Yeah, no, it'd be very fun.
Yeah.
So what are you noticing actually in the book publishing business? I mean, personally myself, from what I'm reading, actually the sale of books has gone up in the last couple of months.
Up. It was interesting because at the beginning of COVID, I noticed Tiger King. I noticed there was a lot of Netflix binging, but I think once people got through all of that, they were tired of wasting time. Although I think that isn't the right phrase. That's not the phrase I would use, but that's what I've heard. And then I've seen people who started doing more of what I was doing anyway. Like the minute we were allowed to quarantine, wait a minute, I don't have to go anywhere. I can stay home and do all the things that I want to do. And I don't have to see people. Okay. So it has not felt like a punishment for me or anything like that.
Sure.
So to answer your question about publishing, I have noticed that there are a lot of people who are working on their books in this time. There's less to go and do, so there's more time to sit and write. So I anticipate that February's class is going to be full. And I used to limit it to 15 new students, but over the 9 times that I have taught the course, the numbers are strong. at between 50 and 70% of the people who take the course don't show up for the live broadcast.
Oh, really?
Because they're doing things, right? They're
Right.
whatever.
Unavailable
for whatever reason. And because I record the audio and the video of the classes, people can take the class and it feels live to them. And then they can send me their questions and I can answer them, either responding to their email or just saying, oh, I have a question from Dave.
Yeah.
And here's the question. And it's at the top of the show, right? It's at the top of the lesson, so that if someone wants their question answered right away and they're not on there, I get it out of the way before I teach the module. So I always take questions at the beginning and at the end.
Can I ask you, what are the mechanics for you doing this class? Are you using something like Teachable, or
Zoom.
is it you're using Zoom and then sending recordings out and stuff? Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
because it's the most interactive forum that's reliable, right? I mean, I have
and everybody knows it. Everybody's on Zoom. So it's not like they have to learn something new.
Not now. I mean, when I first started using Zoom, it was 4.5 years ago when I started working with a company who wanted me to work on Zoom. And I put in my contract, they had to have a technical advisor, because I was like, I don't know anything about Zoom. It's very overwhelming. And also I'm the talent, right? I'm not the technical person. So I'm not handling the lighting and the connections and letting people in from the waiting room and none of that, right? But I taught 4 classes every Tuesday, every Thursday. I was teaching 4 classes a month. So I got very comfortable with Zoom, which is why I decided to do my class on Zoom, because I had done the first version of my coaching class, the publishing coaching class, as a conference call. So everybody dialed into a conference number and I was on the
early days
back in the day. And the feedback that I got was, it sure would be nice to see you. It sure would be nice if we could face to face for the next. So the next one I did Zoom, and Zoom was the beginning of 2019. And I taught 4 classes that way. And so now I'm Zoom aficionado, right? I got this down pat. And then of course we all went to Zoom. So no one's afraid of Zoom. Everybody's comfortable on Zoom. People don't feel like they have to have video on or whatever, their audio. Some people are ninjas. They come in and they take the class, and I can imagine that they're in an office surrounded by people, but they've got their little earbud in and they're listening to class, but they're not on audio or video. Like, we can't hear them or see them, but they're able to tune into the class.
Very, very nice.
So I get people that are at the beach on vacation. They've got kids running around. Like, I can see total chaos. But I upped it to, instead of teaching it 4 times a year, I'm going to teach it 3 times a year. But I'm going to increase it to 20 new students, because I know that only about 10 to 12 are going to show up. And then all the veterans, which is what's great about the class, is that anybody who's ever taken the class can take it as many times as they want. So there are lots of people who come and take it over and over again, because I'm constantly adding new things. Like, I think I added you to the September. When did we start talking?
Yes. Oh gosh. Oh, we were talking I think in July or something, maybe even June.
Yeah. So I think I added you to the last one at the beginning of the year, and then I took off July and August, and then I added you, and then I talked about you again in this one. So we just did that class this past Tuesday.
Oh.
Yeah. Friday. It's been a weird long week. Class number 6 was it's class number 5 and number 6 where I talk about podcasting. So that's when your information went out to everybody.
Well, thank you. So, quick question.
Yeah.
Not so quick question. So I'm getting a lot of people that are contacting me that are authors. And these are people that just finished writing a book. Okay. So I'm always making referrals there, but for sure. But I'm imagining that with COVID and everything else and a lot of people home, is people are going, I think I'm going to write that book that I always wanted to write. Is that happening? Do you think? Yeah.
Yes. People are writing their books.
Okay. So in our conversation on email about Penny, remember Penny? Okay. So she said she was looking for an agent, and your response is, well, I'm not an agent.
No.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So if somebody says they're looking for an agent, would you assume that the book's been written?
No. I would assume that they have a book idea, and they have perhaps a book proposal. So there's 2 different tracks. There's the traditional publishing track, which you need an agent and a publisher. a lot of times, every time, unless they come to you, you need a proposal. And even if they come to you, you need a proposal. So the proposal is written by the author or their ghostwriter, or a ghostwriter who writes proposals and puts together the idea, convincing the agent that they can convince a publisher to publish your book. In self-publishing, specifically someone who works with me, we go through the proposal process, but I don't talk about it like that. I talk about it as how are we building the book. So I don't even use the word proposal at all in the process. We just talk about the book idea. Is it viable? Is it commercial? Can you sell it, or can you use it to generate business? Because sometimes you don't want to sell lots of books. In a minor number of cases, there are people who don't actually want to sell books. They want to use their books to generate business. Nevertheless, we don't use the proposal process, and we don't use an agent. So the words proposal, agent, and book deal are all traditional publishing terms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not my side of the publishing fence, as it were.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for somebody like Penny, as an example, like I am going to connect you, what do you imagine you might be able to do for her, if anything at all?
I might give her a line of sight into a publishing option that could actually be more profitable and more viable for her. Traditional publishing has scaled way back in their offerings. So the book advances on the books that they do take, which are less. So the advances are less for the books that they're publishing. The marketing has come to a screeching halt, from what I understand. I do get a number of traditionally published authors who reach out to me to say, my publisher's not doing anything. I need to sell books. I need to make money. I need to make sure I earn out my advance. Marketing, book marketing can help me, that kind of thing. So I could just shed some light on an option for her, right? Because I think a lot of people that talk to me say, oh, I didn't know that this process existed in this way. And I didn't know that there was someone to help me to go through the process. I thought self-publishing was this thing that losers did because they couldn't get a traditional book deal. I didn't actually understand that it's a viable, sometimes the smartest option for someone to take. So
not always. So that's what I was imagining, or probably more closely hallucinating.
Okay,
was that
well, you are in Santa Fe, so there's a lot of that peyote stuff going around, right? Hanging out.
So anyway, is that, somebody has an idea for a book, they're in the progress, some sort of place in the whole process, and they immediately jump to agent.
They do, because they think that's what they have to do in order to get a book deal. So you have to get an agent and have a proposal in order to get a book deal. So when you said agent, I said, how high?
No, I actually said who's on second.
Who's on second? Okay. Yes. Well, so as far as that goes, there are some people who talk to me, and I give them the full 360-degree, 30,000-foot view. Who's on first? Who's who at the zoo? What are the options? You can do traditional, you can do hybrid, you can do self-publishing. Here's how all of those things can go down. Here's the upside or downside to any and all of those. And they will say, okay, now I know you're there. I still want to try traditional publishing, because in their minds, especially those who have been steeped in academia, and being in Nashville, I'm around people who are steeped in academia, Vanderbilt and Belmont, and my husband's a Belmont alum. And of course, those folks all want to go traditional publishing because they feel like it's the next level of validation. But now that the publishers have pulled back and they're not getting book deals, or they've slowed the timeline, I mean, once someone decides that they're ready to write a book, they're kind of like, I'm ready to write that book. I want to write the book and I want to publish it. And now I understand, I have a line of sight to, here's what the book's going to do. Here's who the book is going to help. Here's how the book is going to help me and my business. I want it out. I want it out yesterday. How do I make all that happen? So I will anticipate getting some return calls, because with traditional publishing, the money comes to the author and they don't have to do anything. In independent publishing, the money comes from the author, but then is returned to the author. So people also have in their minds, with agent and with traditional publishing comes, the money just flows like water. right?
Yeah, it's like the story of Richard Bach publishing Jonathan Livingston Seagull, taken off on his plane for 3 months. Yeah. He finally calls the publisher to find out what's going on with the book, and the publisher says, "We've been trying to get a hold of you. We have no idea what to do with all this money. Aww. You never told us where to bank it."
Oh, bless your heart. Yeah. Okay, but for the rest of us.
Yes.
For the non-unicorns in the group,
for the rest of us.
For the rest of us chickens, there is an option, and I am not an inexpensive investment into someone's work or business. So when someone reaches out to me and they say, I've heard you do this and I want you to do this, I want to make sure that they understand that someone who hires me is expecting a large return on investment. Not just an advance and getting to say I'm an author, but actually providing an investment in their business or putting an investment in their business, and their book is an asset in their business, and then expecting to get that as a return on their investment many times over. And the best question was asked of me. There's a book project that I am hoping to get to do here in Nashville. And it's actually a Nashville-based book project. So the book would be underwritten by a group of people who want this book written about Nashville. And the guy that I talked to said, okay, so we underwrite it. We don't want our money back. But what happens next? And I said, gosh, we could make the book benefit a charity or an organization like the Frist Museum or Cheekwood, which is the mansion of the gentleman, Mr. Cheek, who invented Folgers coffee. Like he created Folgers coffee. I'm reading this other book on the history of Nashville, the business history of Nashville. Fascinating. And so there are all these great organizations that could benefit from these royalties. And no one's ever asked me, what's the return for 3 years? Everyone says, how fast can I get back? What can I make in a year? Yeah. But I said, well, if it's done right and it's done well, the first year is less than the second year, is less than the third year. So if the marketing plan is solid, then we can expect that it's benefiting Family and Children's Service or Cheekwood or the Frist Center or whatever, wherever you
It's going to be ongoing.
Right. I was like, wherever you decide to put those royalties. And if the book is marketed well and it's used well, then it goes to every new Nashville resident, every person who buys a home, every new company that comes and puts their headquarters here, of which there are many. Amazon is building a huge thing downtown. Imagine if all 5,000 of their employees were gifted that book by Amazon. Like, here's the history. Here's the last 20 years of Nashville.
So essentially you have nothing to be excited about.
Oh, no. I'm bored. No, I actually have. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I want to talk about something that's really important, which is, how are your puppies doing in the COVID?
So I have one puppy, and right now she's in her kennel because when I am doing something such as this, we like her to be quiet. So unless she's been run, which she hasn't been run this morning, then in the kennel she goes.
Yeah.
My cat, I can see up there, and Mr. Pickles is on the bed. So everyone is fine. We are on 30.
Who's Mr. Pickles?
The other cat, the tuxedo.
Oh. I just wanted to bring in the animal connection, the animal medicine, as we say in the Southwest.
Yeah. So we have Frappuccino, who is the girl cat, Rogue, who is the girl puppy, Mr. Pickles, who is the boy cat. And they are all delighted to be in the woods. So we went from living in downtown Nashville, which was sirens and emergency vehicles and insanity, to living where yesterday my silence was disturbed by a chainsaw.
By a chainsaw.
I was like, oh, okay. Well, and I could barely hear it. But I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, silence, birds, right? I have deer in my front yard. We have a salt lake and we have a bird feeder that's about 50 yards out. And so the birds
So you really love nature. You really love nature, don't you?
I'm loving it. I'm just having a good old time. And one of my longtime dearest friends, I've known her for 30 years. She came and she lives on a similar situation in Florida.
Yeah.
But she was like, this is so counter to you. I don't know this Honoree. Like, who is this person with a tractor? Like, I love it. I absolutely love it. And
Yeah, I do too.
so
I actually been getting up very early. I start at 3 or 4 o'clock in the
I
morning,
did
which
this
I
morning.
love
Yeah.
because it's so
Quiet.
peaceful. And
Yeah.
yesterday morning I was out going for a walk real early, and all of a sudden out of the corner of my eye I saw this whoosh of white. And what it was is a white barn owl.
Oh.
You don't see something, but because it's dark,
Uh-huh.
but it's just this sound.
Are you on some acres too, or are you close to people?
Nope, I'm in town.
Oh, Santa Fe is just a delightful.
I'm not in Santa Fe. I'm in Carlsbad, near San Diego.
Why did I think you were in Santa Fe?
Because we've talked about Santa Fe and because of the Indian blankets.
And because of the Indian blankets. Yeah, they
Yes.
geographically put you in a different place.
Exactly.
Okay.
But the blankets are behind me are wonderful because they're thick wool and they
I know
absorb
what they're
sound
doing up
really
there.
well.
Yeah. My husband's an audio engineer.
I want to talk with him at some point. Yeah.
All right. He's not feeling well today. He injured himself chopping firewood.
So I'm sorry.
Hashtag
I'm
farm
not
life. Hashtag farm life.
Yeah. So what's his real passion with audio engineering? Does he do soundscapes by any
No,
chance?
he doesn't. He's not still a practicing audio engineer.
He's retired.
He has a degree in audio engineering, but then he went to Belmont for music business management.
I ask because I'm looking for a gifted soundscape designer, somebody that actually, in a sense, after this book, whatever book we're going to choose, which you and I might be involved in doing, is I'm going to need somebody, hire voice talents and all the rest of it, and then have somebody do exactly what somebody that would score a movie would do. Which they would just, I knew Dominique Frontieri in Santa Fe, and he's the one that wrote the score for Color of Purple. And Dom explained to me, the studio would send him rough cuts of the film to give him an idea and a sense for what the film was about. But generally what they would do is largely just run the film and score it as they're watching the film.
Oh, gosh, that's a unique challenge.
So it's the same thing.
But I have to know someone through someone. Living in Nashville and being married to Byron, I have to be a 1 degree of separation from someone who could do that. So I'll just put my head down.
Okay, sure. This is a 2021 project, most likely.
But all the good people are busy.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, that's why I'm looking now.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is we got to get on their radar early so they, if not actually, then mentally hold that space.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Also want to let you know we're on Squadcast right now.
Squadcast.
And they're at some point in the very near future going to be offering a video version of the same thing. So right now this is just audio, but they're going to be doing video too. Very high quality video.
Are missing out on how cute we are. I mean, that's just
yes, exactly.
Man, that's a tragedy.
I'm sorry. Next time we'll use Zoom.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I actually, because I've done so much Zoom and there's this wave of new people that are right. They're like, can we Zoom? And I'm like, oh, can we? That would be amazing. Can I do my 29th Zoom this week? That would be fabulous.
Well, I don't have a Tesla, but I suppose we could rent one.
A Tesla?
Zoom, fast.
Yeah.
Let's wind it up.
Okay.
Let's get Mr. Herndon. Let's get Uncle Dave back on. He's in the process of putting together the ideas for it's officially called Uncle Dave's Happy Hour podcast.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. So let's, you and I and him schedule in the next week or so.
Okay. Yeah.
I always do it on Fridays. I'll talk to Dave. I talked to him yesterday briefly.
Okay. Well, Fridays are my writing days. So technically I'm not available, which means I can be available because.
All right.
Yeah. Yes. Awesome. All right. Well, I will let you go and you will just let me know. Yeah. This is a good time on this or after this on a Friday.
Okay. I know. Because you're up early writing?
Yeah. For like you, I'm up. So usually this is about the time I would eat something and then I could just go nap and then get back to it.
That's exactly what I do. Mm-hmm. Knock off a bunch of stuff early in the morning, have a breakfast, take a nap. Yeah. It's like a new day. Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Thank you. Give my best to Uncle Dave. I can't wait to talk to him. Have a great weekend.
You too. See you. Bye.